Hello everybody. I'm not quite ready to go in full view, guys, so I'm just gonna leave this on. Yes. And I'm going to talk from the side here. If there's a problem with sound, please can somebody tell me? That would be wonderful. Thank you. So what I'm going to do during this live is I'm going to read out the notes and stories that I've got about the Barguest. Yeah, the Barguest guys do have a black dog near where you live. So yes, this is what it's going to be about. Now you can see on the map there's different names for the black dog in different parts of the UK. So we've got the Black Shuck, the Barguest, the Padfoot, yes. What I'm going to do through these series of lives is I'm going to take you through the Barguest and what is the Barguest and what does it do. Yes. So, are you ready, guys? Then I'll begin. Thank you for the shares, guys. Don't forget share, like, live, tap on the screen, all that good stuff. Would be amazing, please. Thank you very much. So this is my first ever one, guys. So after this, I'm going to do a podcast over on YouTube, and I'll have a listen to this and see how it is. So yes, here we go. The North Country moors stretch wide and wild across Lancashire and Yorkshire, where the wind carries the sharp tang of heather, and the rain and the roads twist between the stone walls like ribbons of grey silk. Old folk here do not speak of the Gaitresh, as they are strangers to it. They do speak of the Barguest, though, a shape-shifting spirit of the ways, a great black dog that may take any form, such as a horse, a donkey, a mule, or even a tall, silent crane, standing motionless in the mist. Most nights it's a guide, but when its eyes burn red as smouldering coal, it is a warning no traveller should ignore. Yes. So this is The Lost Way. It was late November when a 17-year-old Keel found himself stranded on the narrow road that runs between Leyland in Lancashire and the moorland farms beyond. His old bike had splattered and died miles from anywhere. The dusk had fallen fast, wrapping in a world of deep indigo and a thick, cold mist that rolled down the hills, swallowing signposts and familiar landmarks alike. He pulled his coat even tighter, took in his hands under his arms. He began to walk, but every turn looked the same. Same stone walls, same empty fields, same endless grey road. He had walked for over an hour, maybe more, and had not come to a single gate or cottage awake. Panic began to creep in. This was the very road that his granddad had warned him about, where paths shifted and the moor could swallow you whole. Then he saw it. A great black shape standing in the road ahead, which was tall and broad-shouldered, a dog the size of a young pony. Its fur so dark it seemed to dark the faint light. It did not snarl or move. Its eyes glowed soft amber, like lanterns lit to show the way. Keel remembered the tales. When the Barguest's eyes are gold or amber, you can follow, and it will lead you home. He stepped forward suddenly. The beast turned and began to walk, slow and steady, never looking back. Where the road forks, it chose the right side path. Where the bog lay hidden under the grass, it stepped wide. Kyle saw the danger and followed suit. Once it shifted shape, melted into a shaggy black mule, sure-footed and calm, picking its way over the loose stones. Kyle walked closely behind, his figure fading, replaced by quiet wonder. After what felt like hours, they rounded a bend, and there, ahead of him, shone a warm light on the edge of the town inn. The Barguest stopped, turned his amber gaze upon him once more, then dissolved into the mist like the smoke from a hearth. Kyle stood for a moment, then walked on, safe and sound. Chapter 3. The Red Warning. Months later, on a storm-tossed February night, Kyle was out again, this time driving in his uncle's van, taking a winding lane high above the Ribble Valley. Rain lashed on the windscreen. Lightning split the sky. He rounded a sharp bend and then slammed on the brakes. There in the road stood a tall, dark crane, motionless as a statue, its long neck curved and its plumage dark as storm clouds, and its eyes bright, burning fierce, glowing in a deep, vivid red. Kyle's blood ran cold. He knew the old words by heart. Red eyes mean danger. Turn back. Do not pass. He reversed slowly, carefully, and took the long way round. By morning light, he had learned why. The bridge had just begun to bend, and it had been washed away by the floodwaters, gone completely. Any car that had crossed would have been plunged into the wide, raging river below. The Barguest had not come to lead him astray. It had come to lead him and to save him. Thanks, guys. So yeah, that's one incident where the Barguest actually saved somebody. So this is the Guardian of the North. The Barguest walks these roads still, along the lanes of Leyland, across the mosslands, over the high moors, and beside the old industrial tracks. Sometimes it is a black dog trotting beside a lost child. Sometimes a patient donkey waiting by a broken cart. And sometimes it was a silent crane watching over flooded streams. It is not evil, nor is it a demon of the dark. It is the land itself, alive with the spirit of the north, shaped from stones and mists, and a hard-won kindness for the generations. It guides those who walk up towards peril, and only when you see its eyes burn red does it say, "Stop, be careful, there is harm ahead." The people of these parts still greet it with quiet respect. They do not run, and remembered that the wild places of the north have always been watched, black with eyes that glow amber to guide and red to protect. So if you see the Barguest, it's not always a death. It could be leading you out of somewhere. Yeah. The Barguest is seen as the shadow of the north. Old Reverend Thomas Pilkinson wrote of them in the Yorkshire Legends, Volume 1. The great black shapes that walk the high roads and moorland tracks and the lonely gorges of our shire. Folk here know better than to make the mistake for them from ordinary hounds. This is the Barguest, cousin to the southern Gytrash, bound to the earth and the old ways in which few spirits are. Ancient roots. Its earliest haunts are the coasts and the dales, the narrow lanes around Whitby, where the sea wind howls over the cliffs, and the ancient streets of York, where the Roman roads meet, where the sea wind howled over the cliffs, and the ancient streets of York, where the Roman roads meet medieval walls and travellers' gill. Yes, a deep shadowed gorge cut through the Yorkshire dales, where the stream runs fast and cold. It is a creature of the land and a mist, but it has one unbreakable law: it cannot cross running water. However a beck, a brook, or a river flows, the Barguest must stop. It may pace the bank, watch from the shadows, but it will never step across a moving tide. So that's good to know. If you ever see one of these guys, one of these ancient black dogs, you've got to go across moving water. So a river or something like that. Jump across the river and you'll be safe. Shape and sign. It often appears as a massive black dog. Its coat shaggy as the moorland heather, but it shifts as the land shifts. A shaggy horse, a stubborn donkey, a sure-footed mule, or even a tall, silent crane, standing motionless in the fog. Most times its eyes glow a soft amber, or pale silver lights to guide the lost travellers back to the right path. But when the eyes burn bright, burning red, it is no guide, it is a warning, one that speaks of coming peril, sudden loss, or death itself, echoing the dread, foreboding of the banshee. So it's like a banshee, guys. Sometimes it vanishes into the air before your very eyes. Sometimes you hear only the click of claws on the stone, the distant whinny of a horse no one owns, or the slow beat of wings, and sometimes you see nothing at all. So this is Tales Written in Stone. The Bolsky Dyke Incident in Harrogate. Yes. Parkinson tells of the winter of 1821, when a merchant travelling to Harrogate came upon a great black dog, blocking the lane very near to Bolsky Dyke. Its eyes blazed red, and he turned back angry and afraid, only to learn that very night he was meant to cross the dyke. A heavy wagon had crashed through an icy bridge, and every man on board had perished. The Barguest had not threatened him, it had shown him the shadow of death waiting ahead. Kind of like that one. And then there's the Grassington Barguest. If you look on the map, guys, you can see all the different places where the different black dogs are. Yes. I'll just get a drink. Get a drink. Thank you, everybody, for joining. As I say, I'm gonna read it out to you guys on TikTok, and then I'm gonna record it on YouTube as well. Yes. So, the Grassington Barguest. Years later, in the hills above Grassington, a shepherd watched a dark mule pacing the edge of the swollen beck. Beck is like a brook, guys, if you're not familiar. It would not cross, though the road lay just beyond. The same evening, a fever took 3 households in the village, and the shepherd swore the mule had been making a line between life and what has to come. So it was like a warning of the death, yes. The old law still holds. If you walk the northern country roads after dark, you'll see a great black shape pause and look for its eyes. Amber or silver, walk gently behind. It would lead you home. Red, turn back at once. Do not pass. And if you come to running water, know that whatever follows you must stop there. The Barguest is no monster. It is the North's oldest memory, wild, ancient, and bound to us all. A guide when we are lost, a warning when danger comes, and a quiet guardian that walks the roads we share. Like that. Absolutely. It's a series of short stories, guys. I'm going to see how long I can do it for. Because I've done a complete thing about the black shuck or the padfoot or the Barguest. The Barguest is what I have up here. I don't know where you guys come from. So you get different things, well, different names in different parts. So we've got the Hound of North Wales. From the Leeds Mercury Supplement, 1881. The old pages of the Leeds Mercury Supplement for that year carry a quiet, chilling notice. Catherine Mary Briggs, through the name, tells us little of the thing itself. It speaks of a monstrous black dog, vast, shaggy, whose origins stretch back through the centuries of European folklore, now made native to the Yorkshire moors. It is no ordinary hound, it is the Barguest, the bringer of ill fate, whose shadow falls where misfortune follows. The watch on York's walls. Nowhere is it more often seen than along the ancient walls of York, and most of all around Clifford's Tower. So those of you that are familiar with York, I guess you're familiar with Clifford's Tower. Night watchmen pacing the ramparts through the 1800s told the same tale, independent of one another. A great black shape would emerge from the dark at midnight, padding silent as smoke along the stone wall. It would pass them close enough so you could feel the air rolling from its chest, yet it never makes a sound. When they turn to look again, it will vanish. No sound of retreat, no track left behind, simply gone into the night, as if it had never been seen. Some said it walked Haworth's very cobbles. Yes, that's where I live, yes. Where history has turned cruel and unjust. It was not malicious at all. And if you go on the Haworth, Haunted Haworth talk and guide, he does talk about the black dog as well. Because I went recently and he was very good, guys. You need to come to Haworth, please. Come to Haworth. It's lovely. So anyway, enough about Haworth. The howl that never fades. For generations, the tale has been passed from grandparent to child, along the cottage fires and down the schoolyard lanes. Do not wander too far out on the moors after dark. Do not linger near Clifford's Tower when the moon is thin. The Barguest walks. It is a story carved deep into the limestone and heather of the North York moors. It is woven into the very stones of York's ancient walls. Some say it drags heavy chains that rattle like the wind thunder behind it. Others swear it moves silent as mist, making no sound at all, until it chooses to. But all who know the legends agree on one thing: you will hear it before you see it, and if you're meant to, you will see it. In recent years, investigators and ghost hunters have walked those same paths, recording the silence of the moor at midnight. And on those tapes, beneath the wind and rustling of bracken, they have caught it. Low, guttural growls that seem to rise from the earth itself, echoing off the cliff faces and the tower's ruined walls, and sometimes a howl, long, deep and piercing, that cuts straight through the dark and chilling everybody that hears it to the bone. It is the voice of the land's and oldest memory, not that of the living beast. And parents still warn their children, half joking and half serious, that staying too far behind the familiar lanes will draw the eye of the Barguest. In Greek mythology, now I'm gonna slay this. Are you ready? Kerberos. Oh no, it's a Roman. It's a Greek name. Kerberos. That one. The three-headed hound. He watches the gates of the underworld, a guardian who never lets the living enter nor the dead leave. And across Europe and beyond, the same shape appears, a vast, shadowy beast, sent to guide souls, warn the living, or mark the oncoming change and death. Good that, innit, guys? The shape of the omen. All accounts agree on its nature. It appears from nowhere and as if woven straight from the shadows themselves. Its coat is of deepest black, so dark it seems to swallow light. Its eyes burn, sometimes soft amber to guide, sometimes blazing red to warn of ill fate or death. And most strange of all, swords, sticks, weapons pass straight through it, even if, as if it's made from mist and memory alone. You cannot fight it, you cannot harm it, for it is not flesh and blood. It is a spirit, bound by the laws of life and the afterlife. So, here, guardian or omen? Question mark. Yes, very much. For centuries, these tales served a purpose. They help people to make sense of loss and sudden endings, and of the great unknown. Sometimes they are feared as messengers of doom, sometimes honoured as guardians who watch over the line of the world between this world and the next. And so the Barguest walks still, part of the ancient worldwide legacy. It cannot be slain, it cannot be turned aside by force. It follows the older laws. It will not cross running water, and it will lead the lost home, and it will warn you of danger that draws near. And when its eyes blaze red, it speaks of endings, and nobody can turn back. It walks the walls of York, the moors, and the roads of the north. One more guardian among the many, a reminder that death is not the end, but only a path, and that ways between the worlds are watched over by powers older than we could know. Yes. Hello, everybody. Oh, I've got a few in. Hello, everyone. It's me. I'm not, I'm just taping, guys. I'm sorry, love. Yes, let's have that one. So now we're on the many names and one guardian. Yes. Across the north of England, the same spirit walks under many names, carrying the same ancient weight and quiet power. What Lancashire and Yorkshire called Barguest, other villages on dales know it as the Padfoot or the Gytrash, and every name carries the same old warning. Where it walks. Most often it appears in quiet places, lonely moorland tracks, deep country lanes, crossroads where the ancient ways meet, and the churchyards where the grass grows long. But if it is not bound only to the wilds, it has been seen pacing in city streets, standing silent beside factory gates, and waiting at railway crossroads, yes, and lingering on the edges of estates. It goes wherever life has been lived fully, and where lost or changed hangs in the air. Yes, the harbinger. Whenever it appears, stepping from the shadow, as if it had always been there, it is widely known as a harbinger of doom. It does not bring death or misfortune itself. Rather, it sees what is already coming, and walks ahead to warn those who have the eyes to see. Padfoot. Said to get its name from the soft padding sound of its feet, or because it pads silently through the path ahead of those that will soon face loss. Gytrash is a name spoken across Lancashire and linked with the old ways of the north, a shapeshifter that may take the form of a hound, a horse, a mule, or a crane to guide the traveller. I think I'm gonna do one last one and then I'm gonna come off, guys. I think we've had a good go, haven't we? I'll cut this up and I'll stick it on my page so you can hear the other stories. Alright. One shape, many faces. The Black Shuck and the Storytellers. Across the north and east of England, the great black hound bears yet another name, the Black Shuck. Where the Barguest may shift form and lead you home, the Black Shuck carries a darker, sharper edge in legend. He is often most described as a vast, shaggy and terrifying, and sometimes he has only one eye, a single blazing orb that bores straight into you, piercing and menacing. To look deep into that single eye, old tales warn it is your own end. It is said that if the Black Shuck fixates his gaze upon you, death will follow soon after. Yet, even this is not always so simple. In some villages, he is still honoured as the ancient protector of the land, a fierce guardian who will not suffer harm to come to his people or his home. Fear and protection walk hand in hand with his shadow. The writers who listened these ancient tales were so powerful they shaped into some of the greatest stories ever told. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wove the terror of the Black Hound into the Hound of the Baskervilles, the phantom beast stalking the moors, born straight from legends of Dartmoor and Northern Dales. Robert Louis Stevenson captured the eerie, unearthly cry in The Barking Ghost, reminding us that these hounds are not merely monsters, they are spirits bound to places and oaths and to the line between life and death. From Norse myth to the pages of Sherlock Holmes, these same spirits runs the hound that is never quite fully good or never fully evil, but a fake of the land itself, the face of the land itself. So yeah, I've never heard of that Robert Lewis, but I've definitely watched Sherlock Holmes. That was the Hound of the Baskervilles is what they used this story for. I think. Well, oh, I've nearly finished. Oh, I'm going to finish! Yay! The Hound. Let me just have a drink before I start. So, the Hound over Whitby. On the cliffs of Whitby, where the Abbey ruins stand, like a broken teeth against the North Sea sky, and the old tales are never allowed to fade. Fishermen, cliff walkers, and families huddled in narrow yards still pass the story down, generation after generation. The Barguest hears still. It is said to move along the cliff paths, through the churchyard where the bones lie, thick in earth, along the lanes that the wind carries the wind down to the harbour. Sometimes it's seen as a great black hound, sometimes it's seen as only an echo of its passing, but all who know the law agrees on its saddest duty. It howls for those that are close to death. That cry is not the sound of rage or hunger. It is a long, low and piercing rolling over the waves and cutting through the roar of the wind. A lonely ancient lament that rises when someone's time is drawing near. It does not kill, it does not strike, it simply knows. It is the land itself, grieving an advance for one of its own. The story never ends. This is why the people of Whitby still tell this tale. They do not tell it to frighten children, although it might actually do that too. Some tell it to remind us that death is not a lonely thing, that the land remembers us, that spirit who watches over us, and that there is something older, deeper, and dark. And so, the Barguest howl carries on the wind from the sea cliffs of Whitby across the shires of the north, a voice that says, "You are not forgotten. You are not alone." Ta-da! What did you think, guys? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, that's the first instalment of the Barguest. I'm gonna have a listen to it, guys, and then I'm gonna maybe do a different podcast on YouTube. But I didn't think I'd get it finished all today. So thank you guys for being nice. Thanks for all the taps, shares, likes, and all that business. And thank you. I will see you soon. Bye bye, everyone. Bye bye. And now.